Okie dokie. All right, y'all. I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I have a doctor's appointment in the morning, so I cannot be on here all day. I will go live tomorrow after NXT for sure this week, so we can talk more about other things there. First things first, I have to pay some bills, which means I have to be nice and kind to the folks who come in early and on time. It's time for top commenter of the day. I know a lot of you have been waiting for it. But top commenter of the day goes to Kayla. Kayla was in here first, bright and early, right when I went live. She was numero uno. She's also one of my moderators. So shout out to you, Kayla, and welcome back to Top Commenter of the Day. Hello. And of course, young boy Jay is the second top commenter, as is Sasha. She's the third. Donnie, he's the fourth. He's another moderator as well. And then Nika rounds out my top five commenters of the day. And if you want to have your own personal shout out and be a top commenter of the day and possibly win a membership to the channel, then all you have to do is come in on time, right when I go live, and you too can be recognized as one of the top commenters of the day. Okay, with all that being said, let us get into the show, shall we? We shall. All right. Raw was very good this week. Okay, we had a lot going on. All right, but let's get into the very first opening of the show. It started off with whiny baby breath Drew bitching and complaining as he usually does, but with his smug arrogance because he got the drop on Seth Rollins last week. Last week he laid Seth Rollins out, and everybody watched as he, was pretty much pissed that Seth didn't give him the acknowledgement or care about what he, was going to be doing with him at WrestleMania. He made it seem as though, he pretty much was tired of Seth leaving him in the dust and not thinking about the championship and not thinking about Monday Night Raw. And all he cares about is the bloodline and how it affects everyone else. And he says this is the reason why we are where we are. Okay? This is part of the problem, you know? Your source made that a poem. What you talking about, Donnie? What happened? This is the reason why it's going to be easy pickings for him, apparently. He also wanted to make a plea to Drew to Seth Rollins, and basically he says, "You were right." After Seth comes out there and he's talking, he comes out there and he says, "Oh, you were right about me, pretty much giving all of my energy to the bloodline. You were right. I should have been focused on something else, and now I'm focused on you." And Seth pretty much told the truth. Okay. It was 100% honesty. Seth said it best. You are out here trying to sell everybody all these tickets when the reality is you are only concerned about you. You have no intentions of caring about Raw. You don't care about SmackDown. You don't care about any of that because if you did, you would have been focused on what I'm focused on. And he said, "You're right. I'm focused on this because this is our livelihood at stake. And all you care about is having your glory in the sun. That's all you care about is having that moment." He was like, "If I didn't know any better, I would say you're an unofficial member of the bloodline. And it seems to me like you have no problem winning when the recipient of that win is just you. When you're not the one who's receiving the blow of the bloodline's wrath, then it doesn't matter to you. It means nothing. But when it's you that's getting all the hate, you're getting attacked, you're being cheated out of wins, then the bloodline is a problem. But you've been winning your last couple of matches because of the bloodline. And yet you have no words for them. There's nothing that you would say. I would imagine you would want to win on your own merit. I would imagine you would want to win on your own time. But that's not what happened here. All you care about is you. That's what you're focused on. He just simply made it very clear to Drew. And he kept poking the bear, and Drew was just getting riled up, and that slowly, that little persona he's been putting on for the last couple of weeks started to fade away, and that little Scottish psychopath that's been lurking under the surface was coming out. So to save face, Drew McIntyre skedaddled out of the ring. He basically was like, "You're trying to provoke me. I know this what you're doing, so I'm gonna leave because I won't let you get to me." But isn't this what you wanted? You were upset because Seth Rollins wasn't giving you the attention that you wanted. You felt like he was missing you. He was pushing you to the side. You're mad because Seth said you were at the bottom of his list of worries because he's beaten you time and time again. And yet here we are, right back where we started. Last week you attacked the man because he paid you no mind. He gave you no play whatsoever. Now this week you're upset that he's even giving you the time of day. So which is it? You want Seth Rollins' attention, but you don't want him to tell you the truth? You want him to play into your little game of bullshit that you've been selling for the last couple of months? Nah. Now, we're not playing that game. We're going to call it like we see it. And the way we see it is that your ass is out here trying to tell everybody you're saving us from having to deal with the bloodline on Raw, when in reality, we haven't dealt with the bloodline on Raw in a very long time. You being champion on Raw doesn't change the fact that the bloodline exists and that they are there. You were champion once when the bloodline were champion, weren't you? And they made sure to make your life a living hell. And if you think that you're going to escape just because you're on Raw and they're on SmackDown, you are sorely mistaken. They have interfered in every single match that you've had with people they've deemed to be their enemy. You obviously aren't a threat to them. So they don't deem you to be anything other than a non motherfucking factor. That in itself should be an insult, but it isn't, because all Drew cares about is having his moment in the sun, having his time to shine. The thousands or millions of people watching and looking at him from the arenas, he wants to have that moment and he's going to have it. But I guarantee you, this is only going to turn out in two ways. He is either going to lose in front of all those people, that way he can have his moment, or he will win and Damian Priest will cash in on him and cost him the moment that he's been begging to have for such a long time. To me, that's the only other option. It's the only way. At least in my book, it is. I don't know about you, but it is to me. Let me go back in. He said, "Here we have Drew bitching and crying as he normally do. Not the." I didn't even think about it being a poem. I just said it. Oh, oh God. I didn't even think about it. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt. I didn't even think about that. That's actually some bars right there. Let's go on to the next thing that we saw. The matchup between Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch was actually really, really good. The girls put on a stellar performance with each other. They had some true animosity between each other that they were able to work out. In the end, the man was able to pick up the win. But this was a hard fought battle. This was not an easy win for Becky. In fact, Liv took her almost to her breaking point. I think if that match had went on a little bit longer, Liv Morgan could have been the victor in that match. However, she wasn't, and Becky Lynch was. Becky Lynch also gave Liv Morgan her respect with a nod in the ring, and then she went backstage, found Liv Morgan, and gave her her props immediately. And Liv Morgan deserved it after the performance she put on against Becky Lynch. But all of that was short lived once Nia Jax's big ass came in there and attacked both of them. You see, what I can't stand is a sore loser, especially one who lost clean, fair, and square. I could understand it better if Rhea Ripley cheated and that cheated Nia Jax out of an opportunity to go to WrestleMania as champion, or just to qualify to be in WrestleMania at some point, then I can understand that. But you lost that match to Rhea Ripley, fair and square. She beat you with a riptide and you didn't kick out. So that's on you. For you to be so pissed off that Becky Lynch made it to go to WrestleMania is mind boggling to me when both of you had an easy road. Well, you had an easier road to get there than Becky Lynch did. Becky had to go through five other women to win the Elimination Chamber, while all you had to do was beat one. And that's on you. So while you're running around attacking Liv Morgan and taking out Becky Lynch at every chance you get, you should be worrying about yourself and why you haven't been able to capitalize on all this momentum and all the opportunities that you've been afforded. Nonetheless, Becky Lynch is sick of Nia Jax's bullshit. Not only did she attack Becky Lynch, but she also attacked Liv Morgan. So next week, they're going to be a final end to this. Next week, Becky Lynch will face off against Nia Jax in a last woman standing match. Now, she made it very clear that, while she understands that her being in this match is dangerous for her, and it's not a smart decision for her to do this before her match at WrestleMania, it's the only decision for her because Nia Jax isn't going to stop. She's going to keep going. She's going to keep pushing. She's going to try and do everything in her power to get Becky Lynch and knock her off of her heels. It's only a matter of time before she succeeds. With all that being said, unfortunately, this match is happening next week. And she made this proclamation from the trainer's room backstage. So it is official. It has been already marketed for everybody to see. Nia Jax and Becky Lynch will fight in a last woman standing match. I imagine this will be the closing match of Monday Night Raw. Now, let's go to some more matches. We'll get to the gauntlet match in a second. Let's get to the other match that we had. The Kabuki Warriors were challenged by Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler. A pretty simple, straightforward match. For the most part, the Kabuki Warriors and Shayna and Zoe Starks were very even killed. But of course, Dakota Kai interfered, grabbing Shayna Baszler by the foot. By then, Zoe was taken out of the match completely, laid out on the side, and the Kabuki Warriors were able to use the tag team match to their advantage to take out Shayna and pick up the win. Match was over. Kabuki Warriors retained their tag team titles. Now, the two GMs made a miraculous announcement today. Note the sarcasm. There will be a tag team title match. Judgment Day will defend their titles in a six-pack challenge ladder match at WrestleMania. I'm excited about this. I think this match is going to be it's going to be interesting. And I can't wait to see the five tag teams that will enter into this tournament. The qualifiers start next week, and they've already got them set up. The qualifiers are going to be as follows. New Day will go up against Alpha Academy's Otis and Akira Tozawa. DIY will face off against the Creed brothers, which is an interesting pairing. And you have Awesome Miz facing off against Indu Sheer. We already know who's going to win one of these matches. Two of them. New Day is more than likely going to advance, as is Awesome Truth. If I said that wrong before, I apologize. Awesome Truth is going to advance over Indushir. Indushir hasn't been on TV in weeks. I forgot all about Indushir, honestly. So I know for a fact that they're not going to win this fucking match. The only match in this particular set of qualifying matches that are a little bit concerning is the middle match with DIY and the Creed brothers. This is an interesting pairing. And quite frankly, I would prefer if the Creed brothers went to that match. I think they would add a more ground and pound type of feel to that match, and the guys in that match in terms of the Creed brothers are just excellent wrestlers. They work well in high flying situations as well as technical wrestling. I would prefer it be the Creed brothers, and it's no shade to DIY, but I want the Creed brothers in that match with these old heads, and I want some other people in there. But these are the three qualifier matches as of right now. Now you can see right here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 people here, six tag teams, okay, already here on Raw. There are more tag teams on SmackDown that are also going to be a part of the qualifier. They haven't been announced yet, but I'm sure they'll announce them soon. That tag team division is really massive compared to what we think the tag team division is and what we've seen the tag team division to be. There is actually at least 10 to, to 11 tag teams in that division right now across both SmackDown and Raw. There are enough tag teams on each show to successfully split those belts and have one set of belts on Raw, one set of belts on SmackDown. I thought that was the announcement we were going to get, but instead we got this. The six pack challenge ladder match is set to go at WrestleMania. Who qualifies is totally up to these men, but I'm predicting that Awesome Truth is going, and so is New Day. And we'll see if the Creed brothers will succeed over DIY. All right. Now, Judgment Day, they weren't too happy about this. They went to the office to complain, and they obviously were in their feelings. And of course, our Truth came in and was being the treasure that he is. And this led to a match between our Truth and Damian Priest. I truly wish they would have gave this match to our Truth. I am tired of seeing Damian Priest bowl over everybody that he goes up against. It's annoying to me at this point. But unfortunately, Damian Priest ended up winning this match, and that was that. All right, Damian Priest picked up the win. I'm exhausted just from saying that. But thank God he took them singlies twists out his head. Hello, Tariq. How are you? I wonder if Truth is still afraid of ladders. It's possible. Who knows? Anyways, let's move on to what else happened on the show. Now, what I forgot to tell y'all about was a little interaction between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. To sum it up and make it really quick, Rhea Ripley came out there to assess her opponent once again. She told Becky Lynch, if you lose at WrestleMania, there's no more man, there's no more nothing. You lose everything, and I have everything to gain from beating you. And Becky just made it plain. A lot of people have bet against me, and I've been able to succeed every time. And I'm going to do the same with you. The two girls make valid points. However, on Rhea Ripley's side, Becky Lynch could lose 70,000 matches and she'll still be considered the man and one of the greatest champions in WWE history. And she will always go down in history for what she's been able to do with her career and in the women's division alone. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, that anyone can do that can take away that moniker of her being the man. Even precious, bloody Rhea Ripley. What Rhea Ripley needs to be more concerned about is actually going to the main stage and beating the man in her greatest element. Now, we all know that Becky ain't above losing. In fact, she will do it for the greater good. But what if Rhea Ripley loses? Then everything that she has been saying is null and void compared to her own statements about Becky Lynch. If we were to apply the way she thinks and how she has been going, then she is just as capable and she has the same thing to lose if she loses at WrestleMania. Her entire existence as a WWE champion will be completely eradicated, pun intended. So while you're pointing and throwing stones, babe, just remember to protect your glass house. Moving forward. Oh boy. Let's talk about Maxine and Candice LeRae for a little bit. There was a match between Indy Hartwell, Maxine, Candice LeRae, and Ivy Nile. The girls were out there wrestling, and for the most part, it was okay until Candice got Maxine cornered in the ring. She said to her, it was egregious. I'm not gonna lie, but we've seen and heard worse from other superstars. But it's interesting how everyone seems to be coddling Maxine as of lately. But I want you guys to see what she said to her. And while I'm not saying it was nice, I have heard worse. I've heard terrible things from other people. Let's put it that way. She said, and I quote, "You think the internet hates you? You should hear what the girls in the locker room have to say about you. It's a good thing your dead brother isn't here to see what an embarrassment you've become." Now, this all stems from last week when Maxine was trying to help and get her friend, or who she thought was her friend, back on track. Candace was tired of losing. She was tired of doing everything the right way and not getting any results. So Candace has officially started to become a heel again. And because of that, she's directed all of her anger and outrage on Maxine. Now, what she said was fucked up, but like I said, we've heard people say fucked up shit before. To make you get a better understanding, Natalia had just lost her father some years back when Sasha Banks had returned to the E. And Sasha brought up Natalia's dead father as well. It was a part of their little mini feud before she moved on to feuding with, you know, everybody else. There have been so many people who have said disgusting things and really fucked up shit about people's personal lives and everything in between. But I don't think for a minute that Candice LeRae was intentionally trying to hurt Maxine. Now on social media, they dug up Maxine's her brother and how he passed away. He passed away when an Uber driver drove into oncoming traffic and he was hit by a Toyota 4x4, I believe it was, and he died because of as a result of the car accident. Now, it's an ugly way for him to pass, and I am my condolences to Maxine and her family. But it was some time ago that he passed away, and this was not recent. While the comments were fucked up to say the least, she is a heel, and I am pretty sure that Maxine was told about these comments before they came out there. So before everybody starts to go after Candace and attack her for being cruel, let's just take a beat and understand that this is kayfabe and storylines are being built. Maxine was acting in the ring, clearly acting about being distraught in the ring. She ended up taking a boot from Indy Hartwell, and that ended the match. Ivy Nile was already taken out before this even started, so that was that. We have heard so much worse. Okay, so everybody just chill. Everybody just relax. Okay. With all that being said, let us move on to the final throws of Monday Night Raw. I think I covered everything but the gauntlet match. Am I missing anything? Somebody tell me if I'm missing something. I don't. Oh, we have to talk about Cody. Let's talk about Mr. Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was in the ring with our favorite broadcaster, Michael Cole, and he basically was talking about the last time that Michael Cole had asked him, the last time that he asked him what he was doing. Michael Cole was interviewing Cody in the set in the middle of the ring. This was a full-on interview. And he asked, and Cody answered modestly. Yeah, he said, "Do I look afraid? Do I look scared? Do I look nervous?" Essentially, what Cody said is what he's been saying for months, over a year now. He basically said that the story has gotten bigger than him. It's not just about him, it's about the fans in the arena. It's about the little girl that was blind that came to the show and had a sign for him, the young friend of his that had spinal fusion surgery and came to see him win and take home that gold. It's about him getting that finally having that moment not only for his father but for his mother, who he said was the last person he had left. And then he said it's for his wife, the one woman who took a chance on him when he was wearing a mask, being goofy, and was getting RKO'd in the ring every night. He said that story is no longer just about him. He also said to Roman Reigns specifically that we're no longer in the third inning of this story. We're in the final throes, the last bout, and it's gonna be his time. And he told Michael Cole that when the bell rings and all the smoke and the dust settles, that it's gonna be Michael Cole who announces that Cody Rhodes has finally finished the story. And God, I hope so. God, I hope so. Because if he doesn't, and this is where we end up, then he will never be able to recover from this. I can't see how he could continue to go forward. You're going to balloon him into this massive balloon only for him to fizzle out like that. I can't see that happening. I can't even begin to focus on that. And I won't. So I'm going to stick with the fact that I think Cody is going to finish the story. And God, I'm praying that Triple H pulls the trigger and he finishes the story. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the best part about this show was indeed this gauntlet match. All six of these men performed effectively well in this match, starting off with JD McDonough and Ricochet, who had a banger of a match in the beginning of this gauntlet, but Ricochet was able to will out despite JD McDonough doing considerable damage to Ricochet's ribs. Next person to enter into the gauntlet was Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed took full advantage of Ricochet's injury despite Ricochet taking the fight to Bronson Reed from the beginning. Ricochet could not fend off Bronson Reed and his ferocity in that massive 350-pound frame. That tsunami was hit and Ricochet was down for the count. Anyways, moving on to the next competitor, it was none other than Sami Zayn, who was able to will out and beat Bronson Reed. But a petty bitch is always going to be a petty bitch. Bronson Reed attacked Sami Zayn from behind and also hit him with the tsunami, which left Shinsuke Nakamura to attempt to pick up the scraps. This was not successful. Shinsuke Nakamura was not able to beat Sami Zayn. He ended up losing, and the final two in that match was Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. Both men have something to fight for. Now, to be fair, Chad Gables is a bit more noble if you care. He's fighting for his right to prove that he can beat Gunther, number one, but also to prove in his daughter's eyes that he is the superhero she believes him to be. Sami Zayn, on the other hand, has not had the best trajectory as of lately, and this was to reinvigorate himself, not only for the fans, but for his own well being to continue forward and go to Mania and win in front of everybody and beat one of the longest and toughest reigning Intercontinental Champions of all time. Sami Zayn did end up ultimately beating Chad Gable. It was a hard fought battle for Chad, but unfortunately for him, Sami Zayn had the gods on his side. And as the show went off, it was none other than Gunther who was at the top of the key, who was well dressed, I might add, in some very nice Italian shoes. He came out and was very high and mighty with a smile across his face, while Sami Zayn was looking at his future opponent at WrestleMania. So now we have matches that are already booked and ready to go, and WrestleMania is continuing to shape up every single week. For now, the newest match added to the card is Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. But we also have, of course, the big kahuna for night one. Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins will face off against the Bloodlines, The Rock, and of course the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. And whoever wins in this match determines the stipulation for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match on night two. Speaking of night two, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns will compete at WrestleMania on Sunday on night two, and it all depends on the stipulation that will be added to this match. Will Cody have another uphill battle on night two? Or will it finally be Roman versus Cody? No interference, no lackeys, one on one, mano a mano. While you're thinking about that, On the other side of the table, you have another match that has a budding rivalry. Drew McIntyre has been chasing this dream of being able to see himself in front of the lights, that WrestleMania sign, and millions, if not thousands, of people that are cheering and excited to see him as the new champion. It just so happens that this time it's not the WWE Championship. We're not in a performance center and there's no pandemic. But he also has another uphill battle. The current champion, Seth freaking Rollins, has no intentions of dropping his title to someone like Drew McIntyre, who has no real intentions to lead Raw into the new era. This is all about him receiving the glory that he feels he was robbed of some years ago. And Seth has made it very clear that he's beaten him before and he has no problem beating him again. However, I think making Drew McIntyre an afterthought is no longer the case for Seth Rollins, and he's more of a priority than he's letting on. With that being said, who's going to win? Is it going to be your favorite resident whining bitch of a man, Drew McIntyre? Or is it going to be the architect, the revolutionary, evolutionary Seth freaking Rollins? I guess we'll have to wait and see on that too. When it comes to the women's championships, they are also contested with massive rivalries. Becky Lynch is chasing glory once again, and Rhea Ripley is looking to solidify her place at the top of the mountain by beating one of the greatest women's champions of all time. These two have never really come to blows per se, but they have been trading insults and trading promos for the last couple of weeks. I suspect that after this one last woman standing match that these two will finally take their feud to the next level and make WrestleMania worthwhile. With all that being said, across the pond on the blue brand, the rivalry between Io Sky and Bailey is always going to be a slow burn, but you got to pay attention in order for you to really appreciate the story. When it comes to Bailey and her former crewmates, Io Sky and the rest of Damage Control, she put her heart, her soul, and her entire career into this group. And to watch them all turn on her the way that they have, it's broken her and changed her. For the better, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But Bailey may have a little light in the tunnel. A new ally has popped up, and we might see Bailey with some reinforcements in the form of the Glow Queen herself, Naomi. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But for now, Damage Control is in control, and Bailey is going to be on the defense for a very long time. But she has a little bit of get back on Dakota Kai coming up. This coming Friday on SmackDown, it will be Bailey versus Dakota Kai. And I presume that she will get some reinforcements in Naomi. With all that being said, those are the matches that are announced for WrestleMania as we know it. That Friday after SmackDown, there will be the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Famers are as follows: Bull Nakano, Paul Heyman, U.S. Express, and Muhammad Ali was announced today as one of the class inductees for the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you, the late great Muhammad Ali, and of course, congrats to Muhammad Ali's family and friends. I can't wait to see the Hall of Fame because there's another rumored, at least two more rumored inductees in the Hall of Fame. And the one that I remember seeing is the one that I think everybody is very happy for, but a little saddened about as well. I will let you guys do your own deductive reasoning to figure that out. But yeah. Anyways, moving on March 25th, which is in 2 weeks, Raw will be heading back to Chicago and CM Punk will be live, loud, and in color. It's going to be an interesting time to see CM Punk heading into WrestleMania right before the show, but going to that show on Raw. Interesting. Wonder what that's about. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now that we're done giving you all the rundowns and all the deets of everything leading up until WrestleMania. They seem to be rolling. Today's Raw was very good. It had a good pacing. When I looked up, it was 10:30 and the gauntlet match was getting ready to start. So it was an interesting show. They did very, very well with the matches and everything. I really, really enjoyed it. Come on. No, he couldn't take that loss, Brandy. He definitely couldn't take that loss. But I'm so happy for Sammy that he won. I'm not really sad about Chad Gable. Chad Gable will get his time. I know that it seems like he's gonna be waiting forever. But if I'm being honest, I really want to see Sammy dethrone Gunther. I really do. Tomorrow on NXT, Trick Williams is gonna rear his head and probably end up calling out his ex best friend Carmelo Hayes. And of course, you're gonna have an interaction between Ilya Dragunov and the Don since they are moving forward with their matchup at Stand and Deliver. That has been announced and it is solidified in writing. Of course, Roxanne Perez attacked Lyra Valkyria this past week at Roadblock, and now she's probably gonna have a little promo she's gonna cut to talk about it as well. Quite frankly, I don't need to hear anything from Roxanne Perez. I already know where this is going, and I already know what she's gonna say, and there's no need for her to cut a promo about it. No one's asking why. No one cares why. We all know why. Okay, it is what it is, babe, and that's fine. We're gonna move forward. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this review of Monday Night Raw. I will see you guys tomorrow after NXT. I have to go because I have a doctor's appointment in the morning and I need to get up bright and early. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I will see you guys tomorrow when we come live again and we'll talk about NXT and we'll go over all the stand and deliver matches that are announced or rumored to be announced. I appreciate y'all and I will see y'all next time. Bye.